I come not to be served, but to serve.
It couldn't be more important to have someone with his credentials and his track record in the position that he now holds.
It's been an extraordinary year.
I hear lots of people commentating on him who don't actually know him. I do. And I know how much he minds and cares about people in this country.
An historic moment of change.
Undoubtedly has grieved him, and undoubtedly has from time to time angered him because no response is possible.
But one that's prompted profound questions.
Why do we have a monarchy? Why do I have to defer to this institution that I have no say over?
God save the king!
God save the king! As a new king takes the throne of an ancient monarchy.
Whatever may be your background or beliefs, I shall endeavour to serve you with loyalty, respect, and love, as I have throughout my life.
One year on, and in some ways, business as usual. Buckingham Palace Monarchy HQ is busy, open for the summer. And although the King's not here, his superfans are. The Murray family travelled from Brighton, last here for the late Queen's funeral.
I think he's done amazing. I think he's done, he's had incredible footsteps to, take on after his mother's death. But he's been out there, he's been out with the public, and I think he's done an amazing job.
We also found the Rileys all the way from Melbourne, Australia, where republicanism is rising up the agenda.
The royal family is very well loved, mostly by Australians, I would say, especially the Queen. After her passing, a lot of people were very sad. And then there was a bit of doubt about King Charles taking over. I would still think that the Australians will stick with the royal family.
It's interesting. Talk to the loyal fans here. And obviously there's huge respect for the royal family, especially the late Queen. All the ceremony, the big events of the last year, such a crowd pleaser. But ask about the future and looking forward, and that's a much trickier question to answer.
I think he's been quite quiet. I haven't really heard too much about King Charles, but I would like to see more in the public face and obviously how it represents the royal family going forward.
I think it is a huge set of shoes to fill, but I think if he does it differently and doesn't try and replicate, then that'll be a good thing.
How old are you, King Charles?
Have a guess. Have a guess.
96.
He might be the oldest heir to exceed, but he's also one of the busiest, clocking up more engagements in his first year than his mother did in hers. And that's no surprise to those who've worked with him.
His whole life has been about looking after the people of this country, the Commonwealth and the realm. His life has been one of service and duty. So this is not a moment of, oh, how is he coping? This is just the seamless transition to the role that he was always going to take on. And he's doing it brilliantly, and he's bringing to it all sorts of new and interesting ideas.
One thing the King does bring is a return of state visits. His first to Germany hailed a success in rekindling post-Brexit relations.
Und vor allem, dass ich hier sprechen darf, das Bekenntnis zur Freundschaft unserer Länder zu erneuern.
He is head of state, and these are delicate diplomatic missions.
There is something else about the fact that he is 75. He is now amongst global statesmen, probably one of the oldest ones. He has got wisdom, and he has got gravitas, and he's seen it all before, and that gives you an added edge.
President of Ukraine, Majesty.
And it's been said he also brings a sharper edge to the role.
It's good to see you, and to be able to welcome you here on this occasion.
Thank you so much.
Fantastic.
Great honour to be here. Thank you for the fine time for me.
Well, we've all been worried about you and thinking about your country for so long. I can't tell you.
Thank you.
So we'll show you this. The ones who be able to come through have been chill. They then come in and get back.
And domestically, too, we're told the King is keen to connect. The cost of living crisis acknowledged in his first Christmas message.
Your Majesty, lovely to see you again. Oh, it's a great pleasure.
Anyway.
Although above politics, he's always been close to political issues. Constitutional constraints have now clipped his wings after years of outspoken campaigning on the environment. He couldn't attend the COP climate summit, But those who've long advised him on environmental issues aren't worried.
Have reached the conclusion that even if he doesn't say another word about these sustainability subjects, the fact of his impact and his achievements over such a long period means that the office that he now occupies stands for sustainability.
The king might not be an activist, but he is still actively engaged.
What he's also done, of course, is brought that passion for the environment with him, and you've seen this reflected in several major events that he's hosted at Buckingham Palace, and alongside all of that, countless other meetings and visits that he's been on where that passion and commitment is evident. It's still very much a part of his DNA.
But while he can control some of the job, other bits he can't, egged in York and facing increasing public protest.
Not my king! Not my king!
This is new and noisy territory for the monarchy. Polls show among younger people support is sliding and indifference rising. The Republican group Republic says their membership has doubled, with support and income at record-breaking levels.
Last year he inherited £650 million from his mum and didn't pay a single penny of inheritance tax.
Republic says membership has doubled, with revenue at record-breaking levels.
This is something that is going to increasingly rise up the political agenda. I think it's something where people will begin to say, is this the kind of country I want to live in? And I think ultimately what the monarchy is symbolic of, it basically says it's okay for some people to be extremely rich and privileged and for many others to not be. And it's a symbol, it basically is saying this is fine. And our society accepts this. And I think an increasing number of people are like, no, well, we don't. And we're not benefiting from it.
And in times of financial difficulty, hard questions for the king about how much he costs the public purse.
I think a lot of the younger generations are looking at their lives, looking at the housing market, looking at insecurity, jobs, cost of living crisis, and asking themselves, well, why do we have a monarchy? Why do I have to defer to this institution that I have no say over? And I think that's a fair question.
And there are issues much closer to home, from accusations of racism within the palace to Prince Andrew and Prince Harry.
There's a hierarchy of the family. You know, there's leaking, but there's also planting of stories.
Harry's repeated hammer blows dealt damage and drama, exposing royal rifts on a global scale. Friends say it's hugely hurt the king.
It is a very, very public issue, and it undoubtedly has grieved him, and undoubtedly has from time to time angered him, because no response is possible, not least to respond when his beloved queen has been attacked in that process. But he is capable of rising above that.
The king wants to make a difference, but needs to show he's in step with people's lives. He slimmed things down, but only 4 working royals are now under 70. Apathy could be the enemy of the monarchy. His challenge, to prove beyond the pomp there is a purpose. Laura Bundock, Sky News.